Let's get this meeting to order. I am Don Cummings, Second Ward Alderman, along with Rich Marks. This is a committee of the whole meeting. Let the record show that all aldermen, except for Alderman Ruby, are present. First item of business is to approve the committee of the whole meeting minutes from September 25, 2017. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Marks.
Second.
Second by Swanson. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item 3A, consider approval of a draft resolution authorizing an identification sign easement with 38 Britcher LLC and the Walgreens Company for ID signage installation at Illinois Route 38 and Britcher Road. Do I have a motion?
Second.
And McGowan, and second by Marks. Comments, questions? Alderman Radecki.
One quick question. I'm assuming that this agreement runs in perpetuity and not as long as Walgreens is there?
Yeah, I believe so, because it's an easement, so once it's recorded, it's with the land, not with the company.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item 3B, consider approval of a draft resolution authorizing an agreement with Stanley Consultants in an amount not to exceed $30,000 for Geneva Arc Flash Study. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Kilberg,
Second.
second by Marks. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Item 3D, consider approval of a C. That's what I said. Item 3C, consider approval of a draft resolution awarding bid and contract with Pavement Systems, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $18,310 for the 2017 seal coating project. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Bruno, second by Marks. Questions or comments? Alderman McGowan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a quick question regarding the seal coating by the wastewater treatment facility. There was something in there that mentioned that the bike path, the pedestrian path would also be sealed. And I was just wondering, like, to what extent that path would be sealed leading towards Island Park. I was just kind of curious more than anything.
Yeah, no, it's at the water plant.
Oh, okay.
Out at Peck and
so
Ke-
this is different. Oh,
Peck
okay,
and
I'm
Kesslinger.
sorry. It was my mistake.
No,
I was
that's
thinking
okay.
of something different.
Yeah, but it goes from it's the
I
walking
understand, the
path
barn.
out at the water plant. So it goes right up to the tree line on the south side, where then that is Park District after that.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So it goes from right at Kesslinger down to that tree line in the south.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Bob.
Sure.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Item 3D, consider approval of a certificate of completion for Campbell Row Electric Distribution System. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Marks, second by Swanson. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. We are on to item number 4, new business. And moving rapidly. Yeah, like I'm going to be.
Yeah, like
me.
like that matters.
Alderman Burkhart.
Yes, I heard from a resident a couple days ago on Maple in our first ward who was asking that we consider a special early leaf collection because the leaves came down early this year. This is obviously an issue we talked about last year where we added a fourth late leaf collection, and I told them that I queried the rest of the aldermen just to see if anybody else had heard from anybody in your ward that was hoping for an earlier leaf collection this year.
I have not heard anything.
Alderman Maladra.
Yeah, I heard from somebody as well, and I checked with Public Works. I was able to report back that we couldn't do an early pickup now because the vendor we contract with, their trucks are all working on tree trimming and brush pickup. I also talked about the cost of the additional pickup last year, which we agreed to do, but those leaves would have sat there for a year before they got picked up. The leaves that are falling early this year are gonna sit for about a month until they get picked up with the first pickup of 2017. And I said, you know, look on the bright side, at least this year, all the leaves are gonna get picked up before the last go-around.
Very good. Anybody else? No. So I would not be in favor of an early leaf collection pickup. I think I learned our lesson last year where, you know, it feels, last year we felt like it was such a special circumstance. Maybe we're gonna have special circumstances every year. It was costly, and as I remember last year, it got interrupted by snow, so, I think it's a great program, and, you know, I know it's unfortunate to have to put your dead leaves all in a corner or something, but it seems like, that's not a bad price to pay to wait 3 or 4 weeks until they can be raked to your curb and picked up, so.
Right to the curb, but not into the street, of course. Alderman Bruno.
Thank you. I concur with the others, but I do have a question of, I don't know if it'd be Rich that would answer this. We do have the December free bag pickup. That the cost of the free bag pickup for the month of December is built into our contract. Is that right with the waste collection?
No, I shouldn't have sat on an inside seat. That is correct.
I understand, you know, the expense and the equipment requirements of the, of an actual pickup. Is it conceivable, I don't know if we would know what the cost of having 2 extra weeks of free bag pickup before our leaf pickup would be. Obviously, I didn't prep you for this, so.
I could call to find out what that amount would be.
It would require us to renegotiate our contract with our refuse carrier, and I don't know that the benefits are gonna outweigh what the cost would be. There would still be a cost to that.
Yes, yeah,
So,
obviously. but,
again, I think
No,
Tara probably spoke, you know, every year it's early or it's late, or it's kind of finding that perfect.
And it's, given at this stage, we're October 9th already and renegotiating, and, I don't see it happening. I just wanted to float the question. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman,
And sorry, Rich, I should have given you a heads up, but you probably thought you were done with leaves, but, for this season, did,
Hasn't
when
even
is our?
started yet.
I know, right. When, this resident called Public Works, and they helpfully pointed him my way, so that was good, but, when is our contract up with the leaf collection pickup? Is it a 3-year contract? Is it?
This is the last year of the leaf collection contract.
So if we wanted to make changes next, for the next contract, would this be the time to talk about it?
Well, probably the appropriate time to talk about would be in strategic planning that's coming up shortly. But if the council so wishes to change the program setup, they would simply direct staff, and then we would write a specification to reflect that directive. And we'd move forward from there with the next letting.
Okay. And I didn't mean tonight talk about it, just maybe something for all of us to put in our minds if we feel like, I feel like the program works really well, and maybe it's just Mother Nature, and we're gonna, it's basically a November leaf collection pickup, December bags. Had we done leaf-free baggage in October last year, nobody would have used it, because the leaves were still on the trees, because we had such a, right? Yeah, last year.
Correct.
So, this year they came down early because it was so hot and dry, but,
Well, that's exactly it. I mean, the leaf drop was a result of the drought that we're in. And we're down over 6.5 inches of rain as of at least through last Friday, for 2 months over the last 60 days. That's a significant amount of rainfall that the ground doesn't have. And the leaves, the trees naturally will drop leaves during a drought period to cut down their evaporation and their evaporation rate.
all right, very good. Food for thought. Thank you.
Just for council's information, you may recall back when we did the budget, we talked about what fund balances would be at the end of this year's budget. With that extra pickup that we approved last year, our fund balance at the end of this fiscal year is going to be down to $5,000. So that's nowhere near really our policies or whatever. So I think to do anything else, you would have to be finding the funding somewhere else because it would not be available within this fund.
Alderman Gilbert, do you have?
While you're up here, Rich, thanks for whatever role you might have played with the state, making the improvements on East State Street. It's really great that they spent a little time and got some of those problem areas corrected for the winter, so thank you.
That was all us.
That was,
Yeah, that was
we
all part of
contracted
our-
that? Okay.
Yeah, that was all part of our 2017 infrastructure program. That was a pretty solid joint effort between Alton Roscoe, Nate Landers, and Mike Bledsoe
Oh,
to
good.
set that area up.
I've heard a couple of good comments, so thank you.
I'll pass
I
that
know
along
the
to
commuters had a few challenges for a night or two, but I think they'll appreciate it in February.
Alderman Radecki.
Back to leaves. First of all, one thing I think we have to keep in mind too, not all cities offer this service. I remember I had somebody working at my house who lived in LaGrange or somewhere where you thought they would have had it, and he saw this vacuum truck come by, and he's like, that's the neatest thing he'd ever seen. So, it is a nice service, but it is one that we pay for, and it's obvious that we're bumping into the budget right now, but it is a nice service to have. Second thing is, and Alderman Cummings or Chairman Cummings hit it, on the way here I saw two big, huge piles of leaves in the street. People are getting them off the grass already, so just a reminder again that it is illegal to put leaves in the street. So I'm seeing a lot of that already starting to pop up. And the third thing is, the only question I have for you is, do we rotate the days of pickup between the three zones? So 1 year, whoever has it early, then they move, it rotates from earliest to latest, the three zones. Do you keep moving those dates around? Or is there some rhyme or reason as to the dates when you pick leaves up?
No, sir, the zones are rotated on an annual basis, so whoever was done first last year gets done last this year. It gets knocked back one, so the middle zone is not always the middle zone, it gets bumped back one.
Is there, you can really outthink this thing. Did you ever give thought, are there certain parts of the city that have more trees that would require, is there any science that you could possibly overlay into this to determine when's the best time to pick up within the city, or is that really overthinking the thing?
Well, right now, the way it's currently configured is that the central part of Geneva, where the most mature trees are, is basically split into a third, and then it fans out from that point. That is one of the things that we're looking at, that is the trees out to the west continue to mature. That we may, probably not in this rotation, but in the future, we'll have to look at changing out the layout of the zones, or possibly breaking into a fourth zone.
Alderman Bruno.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Alderman Radecki brings up a good point that we do need to drive home. Leaves in the street get into the storm sewers, get it clogged up, we get flooding, people get water in their basements. Do we have do we ever ticket or fine for that type of thing? Does anyone know?
I don't know off the top of my head if we ticket, but I know we have issued warning or door hangers to remind people, but I don't know, without checking, I don't know if we've actually ticketed.
Thank you.
Alderman McGowan.
Thank you. And I would also like to add to this conversation the fact that there's a growing movement to keep the leaves in your yard to use as mulch over the winter. They add tons of nutrients back into the soil, and they're also great for backyard composting. So that's also an option for people that have an extra pile of leaves left over after our last citywide leaf collection, and they're wondering what to do with it. And I was also briefly trying to look online, Kane County Recycles. I know I've seen in the past that certain farms in the area would gladly take bagged yard waste, including leaves, because they use it for just that, just putting down over their fields for adding natural nutrients back into the soil, which is greatly needed. So just wanted to give a plug for the environment. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions?
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to advise the council, excuse me, and those present and those tuning in that the city flag here at City Hall has been lowered to half-staff to honor Nicholas Daniel Hansen, a young man from Geneva, 19 years old, who perished in a car crash this past Friday. Just returned from the wake, as parents granted me the permission to do so. He will be laid to rest at Oak Hill Cemetery, and his three brothers, his sister, his mom and dad, his grandma, the entire community has been shaken up by this quite a bit, and it's just a reminder, I think, that in the blink of an eye, extraordinary things can happen to extraordinary people, and Nicholas was certainly one of those people, so thank you.
Thank you. We adjourn this.
We do? Yeah.
Do I?
No, we don't, we're just going to close it.
Okay. Do I have a motion to go into closed session? Is this a roll call? To go in?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to read the whole.
That was new business?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I lost track of time.
Do I have a closed session on collective negotiating matters between the public body and its employees or their representative?
So moved.
Marks, second by Swanson. Roll call vote,
Mike
please.
Bruno?
Aye.
Chair Burkhart? Donald Cummings?
Aye.
Dean Kilburg?
Aye.
Craig Maladra?
Aye.
Richard Marks?
Aye.
Gene McGowan?
Aye.
Jim Radecki?
Aye.
Robert Swanson?
Aye.
We will not be voting on anything when we return, but you're all welcome to stay if you'd like.